how do you feel about the current state of our campus, and what changes would you like to make?
I think that this campus has a few issues that need to be resolved, or at least that need to be talked about, and one of them is the smoking policy. I know a lot of students, although that policy is implemented, a lot of students break that policy, and I think that having spaces where these students can smoke around, I think that would be very beneficial, not health-wise, but to the health of the other students who have to walk through people who are smoking around the bus area. And I think that's one of the issues, and I think that implementing some spaces for these students to hang out and make proper disposal of their smoking buds or whatever you call them. And I think that parking is also an issue, and we'll work hard for that next year. Yeah, thank you.
I think that there's a lot of positive things that we have here at Mhcc Community College, but I also think that there's always room to be worked on, basically, to improve. I personally think that the reason why we have negative things, the reason why we have things that don't necessarily work the way we want it to work is because of the apathy again. And we can't be solving problem A with the solution to problem B. I think that we first need to find a solution to problem A and then move on from there. I remember that when I came to Mhcc Community College, I didn't even know we had a student government until one of their members, former appointed Vice President Raul Reyes, pretty much got me involved. He mentioned it to me and he told me about it. So I think that communication is something that we really need to work on, and that's something that you're going to see under Williams and my administration. Thank you.
I think overall the most important issue we probably have to face is the lack of communication here on campus. I think there's a lot of great events and other things that go on here on campus, but that people just don't know about them. And I mean, I think it's really disappointing for the clubs and the groups that they put on these events and they work so hard to put these things together, and then nobody shows up for them because they don't know about it. It's just a really letdown. And so I think in order for people to keep wanting to do these events and stuff, and actually have people show up, I think there just needs to be a way better, more streamlined communication process to be put in part. So I think that's probably our biggest initiative for the next year. So just making sure people show up to our events. So thank you.
Thank you, candidates. That concludes our preset question section, and now we're going to move on to the questions from the audience. The way this section is going to work is I'm going to ask question number 1 to ticket number 1, and they'll respond. Question number 2 will be asked to ticket number 2, and they'll respond, and so on. So not every candidate will answer every question. Please remember, candidates, that Shannon now is going to be giving you signals, 10 seconds, and then I will cut you off after that. And I'll start off ticket number 1. The question number 1, how will you advocate for more grants for school and higher education?
Well, good question. It depends. It depends on what the things are for, but I want to make sure that I want to take the suggestion for the grant. Let's say it's for the theater department, and for however much money, and I want to look and go into the department and kind of investigate how are they going to use this, how are they going to use the money, is it going to be effective, are they going to use it to the full extent, and make sure that as ASG we're doing the right thing and allowing these the funds to go through. Thank you.
Thank you. And Taya, this is for you. What would be your main goal if elected VP?
My main goal will be communication, getting the communication out to the students about what's going on, bringing up volunteer groups within the students to try and get more involved in the school to try and help pick up this campus. We had a volunteer effort go on Sunday that was Earth Day, And we picked up trash on the side of campus where there was grass and there were trees. We even found a shopping cart, and there was a great success. A lot of people volunteered for that, getting the word out, getting volunteer groups set up, that we can together help build this campus with minimal amount of money, volunteer efforts. Thank you.
Next question is, what is your personal definition of ethical decision-making?
My personal definition of ethical decision-making is that you are true to what you are working for, and that you're honest about yourself, and that you recognize that you've done something good or bad, and basically that gut feeling that you have inside of you when you're like, okay, I'm doing this right, and oh wait, no, I'm not doing this right, and then like fixing that and improving on it. That's my definition of ethical. Thank you.
Thank you. Antonio, how would you define the role of ASG VP, and what specific tasks would you be responsible for?
I would describe the role of VP as a team member. I think that ASG as a whole should work as a team. I think we can accomplish big things if we work all together. Will you repeat the second part of the question, please?
What specific tasks would you be responsible for?
As VP and as a senator, I know that if elected, I will be in charge of running Senate, being the chair for Senate, being the liaison between Senate and our EC branch, or executive cabinet, and just representing students in general. Thank you.
Jake, what do you see as the #1 problem facing MHCC next year?
On top of communication, which I feel like I've already addressed, a couple of my other running mates here have mentioned the parking situation. I do think that also needs to be addressed as well. If we are going to be charged to park, I think there needs to be more accessible parking. I believe that we should have some more parking available to us that was promised, even as far as when they put in the new Head Start Learning Center. There were supposed to be some parking spaces replaced as far as that, and so we'll definitely be looking into that in order to make sure everyone has a less long of a trek onto the campus from out in the parking lot, especially if you get here late and you're parking way out there. So, thank you.
Thank you. Sadat, what will you do to ensure the implementation and growth of the Diversity Resource Center?
Well, like I've mentioned before, communication and advertising, letting students know what's going on, and then reaching out to students that don't get reached out. Because honestly, coming from my background, people would look at me and say, oh, I'm not going to reach to her. She might say something wrong to me, or she might not know English too well. So getting those students informed and reaching out to the students that get left out, so everybody is informed and know that they have these options to be involved in everything that is offered to them on this campus. Thank you.
Actually read that wrong. We are going to give the other candidates an opportunity to respond to each question. So we're just going to follow through. I'm going to start with question number 1 with ticket number 2. So Natalia, how will you advocate for more grants for students in higher education? Advocate is to speak on behalf of or
Try to get.
Like you're advocating for students as a ASG member.
The things I also want to work on is actually trying to get grants for the school, especially getting students involved. If we all come together and try to go to places that we need to get grants to, we can get grants for the school. The school is hurt.